kids in school, your maybe job on and off and different. Scouting certainly isn't the same. So thank you, all of you, for trying to continue having scouting, teaching ethics and moral values to young men and women, and doing the best you can. I know that I've heard from a lot of us, particularly PACs, they're chagrined that they've got 25% or a third or 50% of the people returning and other people aren't. Rest assured, you're not alone. So thank you for providing for those that are still there. The screen you see is the North Cascades District webpage. It's on the Mount Baker Council website. Up in the top corner of the screen, you can see about districts. That's how you get to the districts, but we have a shortcut. It's called northcascadesscouting.org. Again, it's North Cascades Scouting, so there's a double S in there, .org. So you can get directly to this page. There is a council recharter page. It does not look anything like our recharter page that Sven put together. I provide some content, but really this goes to Sven and making this work. So down below the pretty pictures and down below the scout hanging out, there are 4 boxes across the screen, and the right one says recharter now. And really, I'm just going to go through this page tonight. So again, I think this page should answer all the questions you might have. You can see on the right side of the left side of the page right now that my email address is there, Sven's email address is there. Reach out to your unit commissioner for help. While I'm here, the first thing on there is youth protection. I emailed recently about 400 mail merged emails to people who did not have YPT done this year, and then immediately got barraged by people who said they'd done it and it hadn't completed. It appears that BSA has got some serious issues with their training. I'm getting more and more feedback that as you do each of the 4 modules, if you don't press next, you don't press back, you don't do anything, you just stand there and look at the screen for a while, it closes. And that appears that people who are doing that are getting credit for that module. Most of what I'm seeing is people are not getting credit for any combination of the 4. I think patience is a virtue. If people just tell everybody in your unit, keep their hands off the screen at the end of each module, and it should record. If they don't get their certificate in 24 hours, email me. If the test recorded, I'm providing a manual YPT certificate for those people that show there's some indication that they did it. Unfortunately, if the test isn't there, you know, BSA is getting sued daily for youth protection issues. So at least I won't give somebody a certificate without a current test result. We do have a test that's going to be used for these in-person classes. I'll send them a link to it and they can complete it that way. Or they can go back and try to get online. But we're doing our best to get through the YPT issue. So Sven is offering 5 classes, 4 of them on a Friday, all day Friday, so you don't have to be there at 6:30 p.m. on a weeknight here in mid-October and early November. So encourage people to get to those or use those or wait. Basically, everything for recharter is going to be online this year. I'm hoping that that makes all of us feel safer. Myself and much of the commissioner staff are at-risk age groups to begin with, but it helps everybody. You know, we don't have to go try and meet somewhere with a mask on or something to go through YPT. I mean, through this material. The actual internet recharter program looks well, it's virtually identical to what it has been in the past. You can see on the left side of the screen now, there's a bunch of basic recharter resources. I think there's everything there you could ever want. The recharter guidebook, if you've done this in the past, looks much like last year's. It's a little bit different. The internet recharter logon portals here. we're going to a 10-month year. So all of the fees are prorated for 10 months. This third thing on the right side here under basic recharter resources is a sheet that just says, don't follow what's going to be on your internet charter calculations. It is a 12-month calculation. So when you get to the fees, ignore the page in your internet recharter. There's an Excel spreadsheet here that will calculate 10 months for you. Just use that and send that in with your materials. The council has agreed to accept one check this year, so you don't have to write 3 checks like past years. These infographics, the next thing is returning members are just, I'm not gonna, maybe I can't open one of them if it's in the same window here. Has fees that are, just shows the fees so you can show people what they are. Whoops. So I just did, wonder how many times I'll do this tonight. Hold on. Okay, we should be back. I'll try not to do this anymore. I don't know if you can hear me or not. My screen is frozen, so.
Here, Jim, if you'd like, I'll share my screen and you can kind of talk.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a donut.
So you should be seeing the recharter screen. Maybe Jim's not. That's not good.
Are you sharing something now?
I am. I'm on the screen. Let's see here.
Okay, I see your screen now. Good. Says my connection is unstable. Hope we don't have this too often. Scroll down a little bit if you will.
No worries.
Perfect. Just a little more. Okay, stop there. Perfect. The new member, speaking of new members, we're planning that you will need, we are encouraging that you use beascout.org to turn in applications this year. If you collect paper applications, they're going to need to be mailed to the service center. This is completely no contact. So if you're in a habit of hoarding applications and handing them in with your recharter, please rethink that. Just send them in. So steps. Sven, if you, I'm pointing at the screen, scroll down to step 1. So the thing that gets everybody every year is start on this today, tonight. The issue always is that people wait and don't start getting their adults trained and youth protection trained. So get a list of your youth and your adults. Go to myscouting.org, find your unit, go to member manager, and you can print a report. You can also actually go into the Internet Recharter and just say that download. You can as long as you don't submit, you can download your list multiple times. So either way, you can get a list of who is in your unit. So start making your list, crossing off the names, adding new names, and collecting those applications. That's just vital. There's a couple spots where the Opportunity Fund says you have until December 31st, but you don't. You have until November 12th when you turn this in, because you have to list the names of people with approved Opportunity Fund forms. So get the people on. We're going to get to this later, but there's a spot for online Opportunity Funds now. Get that application in for those people so you have approval for those before you turn in your recharter. We already talked about youth protection training. It has to have a 2020 date. I've already had a few people argue with me, well, national is 2 years. I'm sorry, Mount Baker Council passed a 1 year, and if you turn somebody in without them, we'll cross them off. Position training, go to My Scouting, find your unit, go to Training Manager, and there's a link right here on the middle of the screen right now under step 1 that tells you how to run a training report. It's different than it was last year, but it's not too hard. Oh, Sven even opened it. Okay. The report button under trained leaders and YPT opens up a very nice report now. They've made big improvements in these reports. And I always export to CSV and open it in Excel. It's easier to scroll around. The actual report itself has little gray scroll bars on it that aren't intuitively obvious, so you can move around on the report. But this is how you get both your train leader report and your final result. Under the YPT report has a Y01 completed time on it. So again, those need to be a 2020 date. The trained leader report has a column on it that says trained yes or no, and it's pretty easy. I've asked for anybody, so this happens to be a real troops report here that I crossed out the names on. You'll see right there under mandatory training, S11 is Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills. We did not offer that this year, so your Scoutmaster or assistant can't possibly be trained if they came online this year. So I've sent Ed Rieger, the Council Commissioner, a list of 16 people, and I asked for a blanket step out. And hopefully he's going to say yes, and we don't have committee chairs having to ask for that. BSA also did another great number. In August, they changed all of the leader-specific training for Scouts BSA. Supposedly, once you're trained for spot, you're trained for spot. And so if somebody had done leader-specific for Scoutmaster, they should be trained forever. BSA didn't. Anybody who didn't do, I think it's weather hazards and ILS, they did not grandfather them for the leader specific. I've entered manual training reports for a couple people, and I think I've caught everybody, but if you have a Scoutmaster assistant in that spot, say something. They do have to have completed all the old training. So they did half of it or they did a third of it. I'm sorry, they lost what they had done. They need to start over. We don't have any complications like that for Cub Scouts. Oh, another confusion is they also now Scouts BSA committee chair has 2 or 3 more modules to do than a committee member does, but yet the in-person training has not changed. I had one person that got caught by that, and he just went and did all of the new training. I don't see anybody else that's in that spot, but if you're a new committee chair and you did the old committee member training, again, say something. I might make you go do one or two those new modules and then enter a manual training for you, but don't like giving volunteers run around just because BSA didn't get this right. So I think I've pretty much already talked. Sven is going to be sending out access codes to get into the Internet Recharter and a link for OneDrive folder. So you'll upload the Recharter application, a photocopy of your check, the JTE forms, whatever else. We'll cover this again later, to a OneDrive folder that Sven owns. We don't want youth and adult applications in there, particularly adult applications have a Social Security number on them. So please don't email, electronically submit, do anything, especially with an adult application with that Social Security number on there. These electronic transfers are not secure. We don't have any of this is covers any kind of banking regulations or anything like that. So if your adult wants to send you a application with his or her Social Security number on it, there's probably not much you can do about it, but don't pass it on. We just don't want to be there. So submitting applications, some of you have not turned on the ability to apply online. You can check that yourself just by going to bscout.org, looking up your own unit and seeing if you can log in or not. I mean, seeing if the button to apply is there. If it's not, log into My Scouting, go to Organization Manager, and then there's now pin setup right there. That's another thing they've changed this year. It's pretty easy to change, and there are links right here on the under the step 1 to show you how to do it. The link for the application manager section is very detailed on how to use the entire application manager process. They added a COR delegate this year under organization manager. So if your charter organization rep wants to let somebody else approve adults, they can do that. As far as I can tell, it has to be the charter organization rep that actually adds that. I can make changes to the rest of the security stuff under your unit, but I tried one just to see, and I certainly don't have access to add a COR delegate. So they've made that very, very tight. So the CR wants to do them, great. I'm happy they're interested in their unit. Again, paper applications have to go to the service center with your check. On down, Sven, please. Good work. Sven's going to send you the PIN for the online login. It looks much like last year. The guidebook is here. Link is here as well. This link in the middle of the screen, how to do presentation on internet recharting from national October 2020 is outstanding. I looked at today when I was checking the links on these pages for, like Sven asked me to. So it's actually better than our own council guidebook is. So go look at it. If you have any questions at all, that's a really well-written piece of information. Sven's nicely put a big red box here for you to get to Internet Recharter. It's also in My Scouting in the menus. You can also find it on the council webpage. And this warning in the middle is the submit is right. Internet Recharter is right below the reload your list of scouts. So again, you can reload as many times as you want. You can collect applications, send them in. You might not want to do any modifications on removing people until you've actually got all the new ones in, I would suggest. And then you don't have to add them manually. If you take it and get them to the scout office, they put them in, they're going to show up fairly quickly in here for you. You still have to go get that institutional head to sign your recharter paperwork. The list of documents up there at the top that Sven posted has the form that you need to get the IH to fill out. So this isn't the COR. This is the person who runs the organization. The charter organization rep is a designee. Sometimes they are the same, but often they're not. As Sven put in here, you don't want them to be out of town for a month. You can go ahead and get them to sign now. In fact, this almost should be step 0.5 or something about getting this piece of paper done.
Hey, Jim, can you walk us through where training validation, the old one where you could look it up by the email, got moved to?
Yes. Let's see. You're sharing. Do you want to find one, or do you want me to just talk about how to find it?
See, now my computer is going to crash.
This is always fast. I'll admit, Kathy, while you're doing this.
It it came up in the question. And just so you know, Jason, it didn't get necessarily go away. It did get moved, and actually, I didn't even know where it was. Jim had to.
Yes. So under my scouting, there used to be I can talk, I think, and I've done this so many times. Under my in myscouting.org, there used to be called Legacy Web Links. They've renamed it BSA Web Links. So apparently it's not going away. So it's a new name. Just look for something that says Web Links. That'll do it. At the bottom of that is training validation. Once you get to training validation, it's a little old archaic thing. Looks nothing like the rest of my scouting. I've sent many of you possibly screenshots from it. It's where you can look up all of the training a particular adult has done. The stuff under training manager is all exception reporting. It shows you who hasn't been trained for their position. Under this legacy web tool, you can find all of the training somebody's done. When you get to the legacy web tool, pick all training, and then an advanced search. And it will give you some options under advanced search. It has spots for name, state, BSA ID, email address. Only put one thing in there for the search. Sven likes email address. I like BSA ID. Usually they give you the same thing, but not always. So if you don't get something with one, try the other. Or if you're having troubles with somebody, do it both ways. Because if somebody's made 2 BSA IDs, it's amazing what kind of things you'll find. Also, if somebody's using a different email address, or they've made 2 accounts for some reason, sometimes this is how I often find that information, that somebody's got 2 accounts. If they do, we can fix it. We call Susan and say, can you please fix them for us? Or if they're from another council, I know they have 2 BSA IDs, because even though it's a national organization, we're still very archaic in the Boy Scouts of America. And we give somebody a new BSA ID in every council. So there's also a tool under the menu on My Scouting where you can go add your account from the other council, and Viola, it fixes everything, and now you can see all their training.
My scouting doesn't seem to want to load for me right now, Jim. It's the evening. It's usually when thousands of people are trying to get on. So,
well, earlier today it would just return me to the main menu too. It wouldn't let me in at all. So,
so let's move on. But it is there for people.
So. And if you're looking for the YPT stuff, what I've been finding is the 4 modules are training codes SCO_3008 through 11, and you'll find it 1 or more of those are missing that they didn't record. when it happens, somebody doesn't get a Y01 certificate. So now you know all the tools I'm using to troubleshoot and find out what's going on. Write a check. So again, it's 10 months. There's a fee calculator in Excel that you can use to do that. In fact, please do that. We would like you to copy your check and send it in. Just you can take a picture of your phone, or if you got a scanner, scan it to PDF. I don't care. The fee calculator, again, Sven's put links all over. So the fee calculator is in the middle of this page too. You do need to run, so on the 5, check, make sure you have everything. The training report must show that everybody is trained, must show that everybody is YPT trained. Anybody who's not trained must be dropped. The JTE scorecards up at the top in the form portion, there's both a PDF and an Excel spreadsheet. The council made a quote fillable PDF, but you can't pick the silver, bronze, gold. You still have to manually do all that. So I'm not sure what they were gaining. So I made, I'm sorry, the ship is left out. I wasn't going to make a spreadsheet for the ship, so they're going to have to use the PDF. But packs and troops can have an option of either printing the PDF, filling it out and scanning it, or they can use the spreadsheet, and you just put silver S, B, or G in each of the columns, and it totals the bottom. Signatures, we're not expecting people to pass stuff around. It has a spot for Cub Master and or Scout Master and committee chair. Type their names in. I would hope that it has been reviewed and you're happy with it. Just type their names. You don't have to go scanning and filling it out. The unit questionnaire, the links, there's a Google form for troop and pack questionnaires. The ship should, oh, Sven's going back up there. Yes. So the ship one, there actually isn't one for the ship, but the way they operate and the questions we're asking are appropriate on the troop one. So again, they get left out, but this form is really just if you filled out the paper form we had last year, it's just all the same information. Make sure you know who your charter org rep, your committee chair, your scoutmaster / cub master, and know their email address and phone numbers. Those are asked right at the top of it. And the reason we ask that is because we shake you down for this information due November 12th. Deadline, November 12th. Then it goes into a black hole. Well, Susan processes, a single person processes all 150 units in the council and spits stuff out in as late as February. So in the meantime, Sven, Derek, and I are blind to all those changes. We have no access to these reports. The internet recharter, it all goes away. So that's why we're asking for what would appear to be some redundant information. So help us out. We try and use it. We use a spreadsheet that we keep up during the year. When somebody says, oh, we got a new committee chair or something, we go put that information in even before it gets into ScoutNet. So please fill those out. Put your fee calculation spreadsheet in there as well. There's a new member roster. This is to help Susan, the registrar in Everett, because people who join late, Sven explained to me today that what happens is they get put in, and then she looks, if they weren't on the recharter, she publishes the recharter and they get wiped out, and then people get lost. So the new member list is to help Susan not lose your scouts. So finally, we get down to turn in here. Sven's going to send you a link for a folder. If you forget where that is, you can go down here to this Dropbox, this big square box right in the middle here. It will bring up the screen that's shown over to the right that says recharter paperwork. Put troop, pack, ship as first name and your 4-digit number. If you're 57, put 0057 in for me, please. These go into a single folder, which Sven and I have access to, and we'll put that in your correct folder. So there is a folder per unit. Let me know when you've done that. Let your unit commissioner know. So hopefully you all know who your unit commissioner is. If you don't have one, it's your assistant district commissioner. If you don't know who either of those are, then come back to me and I'll either redirect you or you're stuck with me. So I've got a number of units that I do have. Some of them don't know it yet, but we'll get through all this and get this done. So I think I'm through talking, and I don't know if Sven's got more questions or not.
I'm not seeing any questions that I don't think you've already addressed. The one question that did come up was if a scout drops from their charter, what happens to their information about in scouting? Just so you know, we keep scouting records forever. My registration from when I was a scout in Fairbanks, Alaska is still stored in ScoutNet of when I earned all my merit badges and everything. That information is never lost. So it's just so if we drop a youth or an adult, it's a fairly simple matter to go back, get those records and connect it with a new youth or adult registration if they were to return later. So
I did see a chat box pop up about how to tell boy and girl troops. If you use this Dropbox, just put B or G after the 4-digit number, because all this is doing is renaming files. And
there is a different folder for troop 4056 boy versus 4056 girl, and that's designated. So there is a different folder for each of those. But as Jim said, when you use the Dropbox, just put a B or a G after the number or something like that, so we know which one to throw it into.
I was looking through the chat box here. So you think everything's?
I think we covered everything else. Let's see here. With the fee calculator, I know we keep talking about this fee calculator. It's just because, with the 10-month change and all the different fees and things that are changing this year, that's probably the area that for those of you that have done recharter for years, that's probably the one really big difference. I mean, yeah, there's all this stuff about uploading it to a OneDrive folder, and those are differences as well. But as far as the actual function of doing the recharter, it's really the same as it's always been, except for this fee thing. That's probably the biggest single change. And so that's why we keep bringing up the fee calculator. So we're asking for a copy of the fee calculator in your OneDrive folder when you turn it in, but then also print that off with the check and put it in the mail so that when Susan gets the check in Everett and she pulls it out, she can look at the check and look at the fee calculator printout that you did and go, oh, that's what this is for. Okay. And she knows exactly where all of because we have to we're only taking one check this year, but that also means that we at the council office are responsible for breaking that money out into the right place it needs to go. So some of that's going to go to the national council. Some of it will stay local. Some of it will be going to pay off insurance bills, things like that. So we're breaking that out for you instead of asking for 3 or 4 checks, which hopefully makes your life easier. But by the same token, it's making our life harder. So we're asking for you to send us that fee calculator so we know where to put all that money. So
I see Jason asked about finding somebody that wasn't registered with the troop, and Kathy responded she had to get something from Susan. So if they're registered somewhere currently, and their BSA ID, you could use that little training validation tool and find their use, their training, see if they have a current Y01 certificate. they should be able to print in PDF and send you a certificate as well. Technically, they're supposed to provide that with their, if it's a paper application, they have to provide it with their paper application. The online adult, I don't know if it's showing the date or not of their YPT. So I hate to put, Susan is definitely an answer with reduction in staff in the Everett office. And Susan is busier than ever. She's got a lot on her plate. So if we can figure out on our own, I'd prefer that. So if they're not, if they're a merit badge counselor or something like that, I believe that I can find that for you if you can't. If they're not currently registered in a council, if they're new, then as a volunteer, I have no way to find that. And I think Sven does not either.
No, one method is to look them up by the email address that they used to create their my.scouting ID, which they did their training through. And that's why I like to look it up by email address. Jim was talking about how that's my route to go, is I like to look it up by email address specifically, because sometimes I can find people who have never been registered anywhere in the BSA, but they've created a my.scouting account and they've done their training. And that's not the route that I go with that training validation. But the other thing is the individual who did it, if they're wanting to get registered in your unit, they should be able to log into their account and print off a youth protection training certificate. And if they can't do that, if the only way for us to validate is from our end to do it, you should probably ask them to go into youth protection again. I know that's an annoying thing, but it's just Jim and I and Susan and everyone under the sun could spend a year looking for that record, trying to find it. And if the person never actually finished it, we'll never find it. It's just not going to be there. And so it does take a little bit of responsibility on their part. If they want to be registered in the BSA, they need to give us proof that they did youth protection, which they should be able to do. And if they can't do that, like Jim said, there are avenues that we can go down as far as one of the online courses that I'll be teaching through Zoom, or taking the test that Jim was talking about, things like that, so to prove to us that they did do that, so that we can get you a training certificate. But the reality is that while my.scouting is not perfect, they should be able to, remember their username, remember their password, log in, and print off a certificate.
I don't see any unanswered.
Kathy, I think that Jim covered the search thingy. You're absolutely right. They renamed it, and that's what I was trying to find. And I wonder if my.scouting is finally loaded. Nope, it's still spinning.
Still spinning.
So they didn't get rid of it. They just moved it, and that's under, what did you say, BSA web links?
BSA web links now,
instead of the legacy tools or whatever it was under before. So there is still that method. In fact, I didn't know where they had put it. Jim had to point that out to me. So
it's amazing how, just like cows following the path of the barn, you get used to looking in the same spot for everything. Oh, it moved.
So the other question that got asked is where the recording for this meeting is going to be. So once Zoom gets me the copy of the recording, as long as it's not corrupted or in any other way damaged for me to show, I will be adding it to this page. It'll be embedded as a YouTube video somewhere on this page, be it here near the top or possibly down at the bottom, but you'll be able to find it on this Recharter resources page.
So if you go to the Mount Baker Council website today, you're going to find some Recharter stuff that's going to drive you crazy. So again, thanks to Sven for putting this page together. It's northcascadesscouting.org, and then scroll down past the pretty pictures and find the Recharter box over to the right side. Oh, this is Sven showing the council page.
This is the council page, and the council, as the council is working on or running into issues, They will be updating their page with more information as well if we run into problems. I will try to keep North Cascades as well, but this is the official home of Internet Recharter documents and information. The North has always been a little rebellious, and so we have our own Recharter page. But this is the actual home of Internet Recharter and information from the Mount Baker Council.
And everything on this page, the council's page, does work. That's there. Just try and find. Sven did. You can tell that Sven's page was not designed by an engineer. It's not how I would have done it. It's great. The council's looks more like an engineer would have done it. So.
Ooh, pretty.
So Scott, Scott Hackett said to me privately, the last time I checked my SM training, it didn't transfer when they renumber the classes. Okay, so I probably have somebody else, and I'm saying this out loud, even though it's Scott saying it, because I want to reiterate, if you don't think your Scoutmaster training worked, tell me. I've got a list of the courses from 2019. I'll go through them one by one and make sure he did them, and or anybody else. Same thing with Scouts BSA committee chairs, and fix it. And if I'm in agreement, I just fix, or we're in substantial agreement, I'm not going to hold feet to the fire over one module missing or something like that. If it's half not done, then I won't do it. But I just enter the in-person training code for that person. So that's how I'm dealing with this. So just it's amazing how badly BSA screwed up this training stuff. Well, if there's no more questions, we got through this pretty quickly, 45 minutes. It's amazing. Don't hesitate to say something if you've got any kind of questions at all. It's just, I want to make this much easier than YPT has started out. This has just been such a mess. I'm sorry. Nothing I can do about it other than try and help everybody one by one by one. So the Recharter guidebook, does it open, Sven, in your window? Ooh. Yeah, so that it does say November 12th. Again, November 12th is a deadline, not a nice to have. If you've not had them done before, you've found that I'm not particularly pleasant about late turn-ins. If you get started on your adults now with their YPT and their training, then there's no reason to be late. The largest units get this done on time every year. So it works. Just can't say it again enough. Get started now, please. I think we covered everything that's on this summary up the top on this sheet too, which is really what I was kind of looking to see if we'd missed anything. Yep, I don't think so. I'll probably think of something after we quit, but. Oh, good. Sven put the North Cascades Scouting in the chat. So if you want to open the chat box and copy the North Cascades Scouting.org, Sven just put that in there. So.
And I have to give some props to Derek Bovenkamp. We started working on our district news, or not news, district website after our 3 districts were merged. To get to our district page it took a little bit of digging on the council website. It's not obvious, the council website is driven by the council, it's not about the districts per se. And so Derek wanted a quick and dirty way of just getting to our page without having to dig through all of that. And so he, as our district chair, he went out and got the domain name of North Cascades Scouting for us. And so.
And if you don't have this, you have to, on the district webpage, you have to go over, I think it's under other, and then there's districts. And then you get a page that has nothing on it except a picture where the districts are and a link to this page. So
northcascadesscouting.org.
So question came in asking about parents registering and if that would hold up the kids. So an adult cannot register in the Boy Scouts of America until they have completed youth protection training for any adult position. So now any adult registered position. So registered positions are Cub Master, Den Leaders, committee members, obviously Scoutmasters, Assistant Scoutmasters, Merit Badge Counselors are registered positions. Tiger Parent or Lion Partner, those positions are not registered positions. So anytime you fill out an adult application, you're being registered in the DSA and require youth protection. So if you have a kindergartner or first grader that requires them to have an adult partner, that adult does not need to take youth protection training before their child can register in scouting. So their kid can register with you and be good to go there. It's only if they're registering as an adult, like I said, to be the den leader for the Tiger Den or something like that. Then they have to take youth protection before that application can be processed.
And Sven did put links to BSA does have PDF forms. I think they're fillable. If I use Firefox, they're not fillable within Firefox. I believe if you download them and save them and open them with Adobe Reader, you can fill those forms, new youth and new adult applications. Of course, then you have to print them and send them on, but I think you can fill those out. So you don't have to go find a paper application. You can actually use these forms here. The carbon paper's gone away. You don't need that anymore. Big new modern thing for BSA that we got rid of the carbon paper. So the Opportunity Fund website was not live yesterday. It is live today. I went and checked. It appears that you can open it and run it. So I think we're out of chat questions. Yes.
If there's anybody that your question might be too long or whatnot, and you don't want to type it all out, if you'd like me to unmute you, I can do that. Just shoot something in the text button asking me to unmute you, and so you can ask your question. We can get it answered if that's easier for you.
Or if you want, you can just end the recording and open it and let anybody who wants speak too, because I think we're pretty much done here.
I think we're going to wrap up the recording part, and we'll. Actually, I am going to keep it recording, but when I edit the video, I'll cut it there. But just in case one of these questions might end up being really cool, let's see here. I want participants. I want to. All right, so I am allowing participants to unmute themselves. So if you would like to unmute yourself, you can do so now. And feel free to ask questions.
Sven, Ivan Lewis here. How are you?
Oh, anyone but Ivan, not Ivan. Anyone but Ivan can ask questions.
I know. I just got right on that. I saw a mute button. I thought, oh, let's do this. Did we eliminate the unit leader portion of the Opportunity Fund application? Is it just completely family driven at this point?
So the short answer is I believe so. Let's look at the It does ask for information about the unit leader. Obviously, the parents will fill that out. So yeah, it looks like this is a family-driven operation. As Jim said, this went live today, so I actually haven't had a chance to really play with it yet.
Fair enough. Just checking.
But yes, it does. It looks like this is a parent-driven form. Question came in about Scouter Reserves. Yes, Scouter Reserves are fully registered members of the BSA, so they would need to complete youth protection training to remain eligible for membership in the BSA.
So Scouter Reserve was intended for scouts going to college. It wasn't intended to subvert training requirements, just so everybody's aware of that. So if we don't see somebody that's 18 or 19 or 20 years old, that brings in the question why you're registering them as a Scouter Reserve.
And frankly, at over $100 to register that person for Scouter Reserve.
Oh, that's true now.
Yeah. Hopefully that individual is now embedded in your unit, maybe a little bit more than just a passive participant. They're doing something, and they should be trained. If they're doing the job of a den leader or assistant scoutmaster or committee member or whatever, they should be doing. They should get the training for that so that they can.
We do have some people that have been doing primarily district things that want to keep contact with the unit, want to stay registered in the unit, that are Scouter Reserves, and that's okay too. So
yeah, those are going to be, like I said, and like Jim said, with the college students, it's really, those are the passive, they kind of come and go. College students, like I said, that are coming and going from school. But then, another really good example, and I think she's still on the call, is Linda Bergsma, who's a longtime Troop 7 adult and so forth, wants to keep connected to that unit, also does a lot with the district, things like that. So registering her in a position that allows her to kind of come and go and stay connected with her troop, or her son's troop, or so on and so forth, as it were.
And she's now a registered leader in PAC 4044.
Yeah. So
in addition,
Conrad, you asked about the fee. I'm not going to go into that huge amount tonight. There's a lot of information about it, and it kind of gets complicated. There is a lot of information on this website that breaks that down better than the council actually did a kickoff about the fees back in August that was like an hour and a half long, and I really don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. But that said, I will say, so there is these two links here are probably the easiest to look at: new members and returning members. I'll just click on the returning members, and this breaks out the fees for them. And so this is for a scout. There is no joining fee because they're already a joined member. Registration fee, a council activity fee, which takes the place of family friends of scouting, and help support the Mount Baker Council. And so this is the total charge to an individual. It's $110. Now, the only difference is for someone who's just joining, it comes out to, I think, $25 joining fee.
Correct.
And so I think that's probably the only real difference between those two infographics. But new members.
It is the only difference.
Oh, they format it a little bit differently, but yeah. So joining.
But it is the only difference. Yes.
So comes out to that. So at any rate, this is, you can see the adults don't pay a joining fee. It's just youth members. But yeah, those are the two easy places to find. There's a lot more information on that page about the fees and what they're for and so on and so forth. There's the fees actually have their own page that you can click here and get more information about. And then this is kind of a 1 or 2 page more detailed summary if you want to read that at your leisure. But we tried to make links to answer anyone's questions and whatnot, but this outlines all of the fees and what they're used for and so on and so forth.
This is actually a good 2-page article right here.
Yeah. I'm sure there are some people who want more information than this 2 pages, and it's out there. But for 99% of people who want information, I guess it's 3 pages, 2 if you take
Oh, okay.
cut out all the pictures and stuff, but and logos and everything. But yeah,
you just linked this today, and I thought this was an outstanding page.
Yeah.
Also
I have a
part fee.
question. Sorry.
There are more questions.
Yeah, I have a question about the fees. I saw something a few months ago about the fees. So we have 3 boys, 3 sons, and then my husband's a scoutmaster and I'm the committee chair. So that's 5 of us that were paying that. And I saw something about.
Yes. So at 5,
But I
so
can't
I'm
find
actually
it.
in the same boat. My wife and I are both registered, and I have 3 children.
Okay.
So there's 5 of us. Same kind of thing. Is I want to don't quote me on this. It's on the some of these fee documents. I'm going to try to find.
I couldn't find it.
Oh, we missed talking about that, didn't we?
So what it works out to is basically you pay, I think it's $180 in fees or something like that, and then it's $10 a person after that. It's in one of these. There's so many frequently asked questions.
And the fee calculator sheet actually has a line for the family discount. So you
On
get
the
in
fee
the 2
calculator.
adults and the three youth, and there's a line where you type in the discount. So it's not intuitively obvious either.
I need obvious.
My family, right at the bottom, screen is here scrolling. My family has 3 scouts, including a tiger, a weebles, and a scout. Do you have a family plan?
Okay, yeah. So here's yeah, $880 and then 10 people after that. So Dana, I will say this came up actually in a staff meeting I had just this morning. The one sticky wicket, as it were, in this part of the operation is we really don't have an easy way to figure, like, within one unit, if all 5 of your family members are in one unit, it's fairly easy for us to see, oh, there's 5 Gilkeys in this one unit, and so that's why this fee comes out that way. But in like my case, I'm registered in my Cub Scout pack. My daughter is registered in the Cub Scout pack. My wife and 2 sons are registered in our troop. And so those are 2 separate charter documents with separate paperwork. And so it's not as clear back and forth.
Okay.
The thing that the Scout executive told us this morning was that we will get it worked out. Like, we're not, this is the fee that we are going to hold, we are going to honor this. This is just because I've got, my family has 1 foot in one unit and a foot in another unit. Doesn't mean but unfortunately the system we have built right now does not allow for easy figuring out of that, if that makes sense.
So this also needs to get prorated for 5, 6, 10, 12s.
Yeah.
So even because this is talking about 12 months.
Yeah. So you want to use, again, and that's why it's $55 for, in not the 67 or 66 or whatever it is. You want to use the fee calculator. So as much as you can, trust the fee calculator, because it should steer you in the right direction.
But it doesn't help with this.
But this is when you have two families in different units, or a family in 2 units. Yeah.
Thank you.
What I would probably recommend as a stopgap is if you mail in your check for the charter, attach a note that just simply explains, like in my case, like how it's all broken out. We have 5 family members that are all registered. This is where they're registered. So for our family, the fee should be this amount, and just explain that so that when Susan opens up that envelope and is processing those checks, she understands where that all came from.
Good question.
Boys Life is still separate from the annual charter fee, or annual registration fee.
And it actually is the one thing that hasn't gone up.
$1 a month.
Yep.
So it's $10 for the 10-month year. Anybody else? We'll be on an hour, and I hate to waste everybody's time if these have all been good questions. So. Well, I think since everybody's silent, I'm going to say thank you for all of you doing this. And again, appreciate you coming to this and doing this and being scouters and trying to get through COVID-19 and still offer scouts to people. So thank you very much to each one of you. So good night, and phone, email if you got questions.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Good night. Good meeting.